Hello everybody, I'm Rusty. I want to welcome you to Island Breeze Tropicals. So today we're going to have a lot of fun. I am going to show you guys how to install bromeliads in trees. So you know what? The sun is shining, the island breeze is blowing. It's time that you and I got growing. Come on, let's have some fun and let's install some bromeliads in trees. So today we're going to be taking this beautiful Orlandiana. It's an Ichmea, and we are going to be installing it in a tree. So the first thing that we're going to have to do in order to do that is to do some prep. So we have to take and wash all of the substrate away from this root ball, and we're going to do that right now, and that will get it ready to mount into a tree. Okay, so this is our Orlandiana hybrid, and as you can see, it's out of the pot, but what we need to do is we need to wash all of that substrate off of these roots so that we can install this into a tree. And it's a fairly simple process, and you have to use a very strong stream of water. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing, I'm not going to bore you with that, but I'm going to bring this up here, and you can see that what I'm starting to do is wash that away. Guys, this is a two-handed job, and so I'm trying to show you, but what you need to do is really get down and dirty and get all of that soil out of there. Okay guys, that is about what you want to have. I'm going to bring the plant down here so you can get an idea. Try and get my hand out of the way, and you can see that I've washed almost all of the substrate from that pot out of there. Now it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect, but sorry, I'm trying to keep this in frame and work at the same time. I need a cameraman. So take a look, and you can see that we've got that pretty cleaned out right there. And now it's just about ready, but we've got a couple more things that we need to do, and I'm going to show you what that is. So it's not absolutely crucial, but you might want to trim the leaves away from the bottom of the meristem. They are going to be sloughed off anyway as the plant begins to grow. Don't think that this is bad for the plant. We're just cleaning up this meristem right here, and we're going to go around here. I think we're pretty clean. We got a dead leaf right here. This will simply make it so that you don't have to do it later and get the plant as clean as you can. So now this plant is ready to install into a tree. Okay, so now one thing that I might want to do is I might want to trim this part off right here. I don't know if you can see it, I'm trying to get it. So you can see this right here, because I am going to try and mount this horizontally like that, and you can see the stolon right here. See that stolon? Well, that's going to have to go onto the limb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim that part off, and it'll be just fine. And now we're going to have a pretty nice area for this to be mounted onto the tree. So this gives you, I think, a much better view of the architecture at the base of this plant, and that's the important part, because that's going to determine how we install it into the tree. You can see that all of the roots have been cleaned off, and I have trimmed, sorry for the jerky stuff here, and I have trimmed that off of there because it was hanging down there and it might get in the way. And the plant is all cleaned up and we are ready to go. But before we go over and install our bromeliad onto the tree limb, we're going to have some tools with us. First thing that we want to do is have our shears with us, our pruners, and those will be used if we have some sucker growth that has to be trimmed out to give us room. And then what we're going to need are some small bungee cords. I'm going to show you what those are used for. And what I've chosen to use to permanently attach the bromeliad to the tree are zip ties. I like zip ties a lot, and they seem to do a really good job. Now down here in Southwest Florida they do degrade, but if you are north of Southwest Florida, at least here in the States, or you are in an area that does not get the sun that we do, you will need to check these and remove them when the plant has attached on its own. So you always need to check these regularly to make sure that they do not girdle the limb that you are attaching your bromeliad onto. You can use cotton twine. I don't have any here, but you can use that. It does degrade and you won't have any problem with girdling. Do not use fishing twine, monofilament line that's used for fishing, and don't use wire because they do not give. Now there are a lot of other things that you can attach with, but you want to make sure that if it doesn't give a whole lot, you need to be able to remove it from the tree. Make yourself a note to do that after about, say, 6 months. Check your plant. Or you can use something that degrades like cotton twine. You may have to retie that, but you are not going to be hurting the limb that you put it in. Now it's kind of hard to see, but I've actually painted some of these zip ties. You can see the unpainted white ones that are on the right, and I actually used some camo paint to try and match the limb that we are attaching the bromeliad to, and these have been painted tan. So okay guys, this is the plant and we're here out in the tangle, and we're going to be installing this on the limb of a tree called sea hibiscus. It's a tree that I've got growing here at the tangle, and I'm going to show you how that's done. It's pretty easy. Okay, the first thing that we have to do is decide how we're going to install this. And as you can see, we have a stolon growing out right here. And so we want this to be oriented just about horizontally. But I can't mount the bromeliad exactly like that because I'm not going to have enough attachment. And as you can see, we've got these roots here, right there, and I want those to contact the limb. So you really just have to play with this so you can get an idea as to how you need to attach your bromeliad. And if you take a look, now I've got this trying to get it horizontal, but take a look, that stolon that the pup is coming out of is curved. That kind of throws a monkey wrench into the works. Would it be okay if I installed it this way and just tied it down? Yeah, it would, and eventually it would attach, but you have to play with this, so that's what I'm going to do right here. And I think that probably is the best way. Now, if you can get an idea, I'll bring it around here. Now that stolon is conforming, kind of, to the limb, and it will attach a lot better. And right down here is where we want those roots to be. Okay, so we have our Orlandiana all trimmed up and ready to go, and pretty much roughly where we want it oriented on the branch. As you can see, the curve of the pup seems to be conforming at least loosely to the limb. But how do we do this by ourselves? If you're by yourself, how do you hold it and tie it on? I'm going to show you a hack. All right, so what we need to do is keep this on here so that we can attach it, and we're going to be using these small bungee cords, and those will hold the bromeliad on the limb long enough for us to permanently attach it. So that's what we're going to do here. Okay, so I've looped these together. They're either too short or too long, guys. I don't know which. And all we're going to do is we're going to be looping this around and holding it on the limb so that we can put better attachment on there. So I'm just going to bring it around here like this. And what you do is you know it's going to flop over a little bit, which is okay. You can't see my hands down here, but I'm looping this around itself. Here we go, that maybe we can get a little better idea. And I'm bringing this around, and I'm going to hook it back here. And now that bungee cord will help to hold this on here. We might want to move this down a little bit. So we've looped it around, and as you can see, that's going to hold this Bromeliad on the limb long enough for us to put some zip ties on there and permanently attach it. So you can play with it and turn it around so that it's where you want it to be. Maybe move this down a little bit like that. And there you have it. So now let's attach this thing. Now, as you can see, I hope, let me get this around. Now we've got the stolon that seems to be conforming quite nicely to the curvature of the limb. Now you got to play with this, guys. Not every bromeliad's going to be able to do this, but you do want to make sure that your bromeliad is going to be sitting straight up. It's going to be oriented so that the cups can get water, and you want to have it so that your attaching roots, especially here out of the stolon, they are going to be very, very close to the tree that you're mounting it in, so it will attach. Okay, so this is going to flop all over the place, but it's not going to go anyplace. And what we're going to do is I'm going to be putting two of these zip ties together that we've painted, and again, I'm trying to stay in the frame and keep my hands out of the way, so you can see I'm joining one zip tie to the other. And we just loop it around the tree. Now, I don't want to put it on top of my bungee cords, but we've got a place where the stolon attaches to the adult right here, and we're going to go around and attach the end. And then what we're going to do is, the good thing about these zip ties is that you can just pull them like this as you arrange your plant, and as you can see right there, now it's sitting straight up. It's just something that you have to play with. It's not rocket science. You can see that the zip tie is around the base of the stolon, but we need more. So we're going to put another zip tie on here now that it's where we want it to be. Okay, so I'm going to join another two zip ties together. I don't know why, but it always seems like no matter how long I make them, I always have to do this. So you can see it's a simple matter of just putting one end together like that. Now, here's what we're going to do. Now, we've got a zip tie that is attached right here. And you can see the bungees. So I'm going to move the bungee over a little bit. Just like this. Okay, now the bungee is still on there. That's giving us some degree of hold, even though I don't think that we need it. So now we're going to be taking this particular zip tie, and we're going to be looping it around the outside of the stolon. But if you can see, I'm keeping it away from the meristem of the plant. We don't want to put it here. This is not particularly fragile, but it can be separated. So we're going to leave that over there. We're going to do it a little bit at a time. There's no great big hurry because it's not going anywhere now. And as you can see, we've got there. Now I'm going to pull it tight in back here. And as you can see, I think now we have 2 points of attachment. We have 2 zip ties there, and now we can take our bungee cords off, and that will be just fine. You can see that we've got 2. What do you think? I want to put 3 on here, and I'll show you why. So I would like to have one that goes across like this, and that will give it some degree of opposing force. And again, we're putting these guys together. I think you can see that. And I have to apologize. I'm trying to look in the viewfinder and do this, and I don't know that I'm doing such a good job, but I'm trying, guys. And then I'm going to be looping this around like this. And we're going to do the same thing, but I hope you can see that this is going diagonally. Just like that. And so you can see now that we've got 3 points of attachment, and I think this Orlandiana is going to be really, really happy here. And then what we're going to do is, you want to dress it up a little bit. So then we're going to just clip these ends, leave a little bit of the end on there, a little bit of a nub. If you leave a nub on there, just like right here, you can come back and tighten it as need arises. But this is how you mount it on there, and I hope you can see that the root system of this pup is going to attach quite nicely, as will the adult, and we're all ready to go. That's how it's done, guys. So what do you think? There is our Ichmea Orlandiana hybrid, and it is on that limb now. And as soon as the rainy season gets here, that plant is going to be attaching. Orlandiana is such a good choice. To remind you, we have an episode of the Brom vlog about the Ichmea Orlandiana group, and they are just really super climbers. So okay guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning how to install bromeliads in trees. It's really, really easy and a lot of fun. A couple of things. I did this standing on the ground. I did not climb on a ladder. This is all legalese stuff, guys, but you understand. So I want you to always exercise caution when you're going to be putting your bromeliads in trees. And also, I wasn't wearing any gloves today, and I did that for the sake of being able to see what we were doing. But if you're using cutting utensils, you should always wear gloves, and just be safe, guys. So no matter where you are, I hope your sun is shining. I hope you have an island breeze blowing. I know that you need to keep growing. Have lots of fun. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.